Good morning, beautiful people. I'm going to hang out on the live stream for a few minutes and see if anyone wants to chat. I was going to talk about some of the unsustainable business models versus sustainable business models again. Because I'm still seeing, and I'm still having lots of people are like messaging me and sending me links to these really unsustainable what business models that are offering or that are promising to pay, some of them were outrageous. Someone actually sent me one that was promising 15% a day until 250%, and some of the other ones were like 1% a day. And let me tell you something about any of these promise to pay websites that like tons and tons of people are sending me. Tons of people are sending me links to these and asking me what I think. What do you think about this one? What do you think about this one? And I'm going to tell you what I think about them right now. Anything that promises you or guarantees you a certain daily percentage or promises to double your money in a certain amount of time is not going to last. Guarantee you. None of those are going to last. A lot of them are just operating completely off new people signing up and putting in money, and then the new people that put in money are paying off the older investors, and then once the new people stop coming in, then the whole thing just stops paying, and the people that joined late, they all just end up losing money, and then the company it collapses. And that's what's going to happen every single time for every single one of these websites that a lot of you guys are messaging me, the 1% a day, the 10% a day, the 10% a week, the 5% a weeks, the pays until 200% ROI. Every single one of those is going to collapse. Every single one. They're either going to collapse from not enough new people joining, or they're going to collapse because there's a centralized entity, or the management or the CEO, they're just going to steal all the money, or they're going to run into a regulatory compliance issue and they're going to get shut down by the authorities, or by the basically like by the police or the Security and Exchange Commissions, or the FCA, or whatever regulatory institution is operating in that country. That's going to happen to every single one of them. And it's a business. Those are all business models where not everyone can win. What's up, Justin? Justin says troncase. Yeah, troncase is one example. What's up, Sasha? What's up, Lou? What's up, everyone? But yeah, that's one example. The smart contracts that promise to pay 1% a day, none of those are gonna be sustainable. Eventually, every single one of those will either collapse or exit scam. Or then they'll run into a bunch of like regulatory compliance issues, things like that. There's just an endless list of reasons why those won't last. So I like to join businesses where everyone can win, and if it's promising to pay something outrageous like 30% a month or something like that, not everyone is going to win in that kind of business model. And I used to think that eventually I'll find a sustainable, and eventually there's got to be some honest company out there that can actually generate that kind of return. There's not. None of them can do it. It's just not realistic. So again, I like to focus now on business models where I know everyone can win, where there's actually a sustainable model where we can bring people in and actually have them operate, or have a business model that's operating in a way that is going to be around for years and years and years to come. Typically something where you don't have a third party custodying your assets, because then they can steal it all. So one of those business models is 7K metals, that I believe could potentially be around for like decades, because there's no unrealistic ROI. The assets that we acquire, which is gold and silver, it gets shipped to us. So we custody those assets. So they can't exit scam. I mean, it's not like we're keeping all of it in their vault. It gets mailed to our address, so we hold all those assets. And we already got people flipping gold and silver coins for like double what they bought them for. Lou says, I'm looking at Tronline where they automatically reinvest 50% back and 50% back to your wallet. Tronline's a scam. That's not going to last either. It's completely relying on new people putting in money, regardless of whether or not you compound this percentage every month. It doesn't matter. Once people stop joining, once they run out of new people putting in money, it's still going to collapse. And those business models, they run into regulatory compliance issues. The Security and Exchange Commissions, the FCA, the FSCA. In every single major country, there's some regulatory institution that's going to send cease and desist orders to people. If Tronline were to ever actually get big and start gaining momentum, and people were to start doing meetings, and you know how like pretty much every big successful affiliate marketing company or network marketing company, eventually they grow so big that they have people doing meetings in hotels, they have conventions. If those meetings were to ever start happening for Tronline, if they were ever start doing that, they would get shut down very, very quickly because of the unrealistic ROI that they promise. What's up, Mark? Welcome to my live stream. See, the thing is, in order for a business to be sustainable and legit, they have to have an actual product or service that customers purchase. Anything with just a bunch of investors coming in and using the new investors' money to pay out the old investors' money is not going to be sustainable. Every single one will collapse. There has to be an actual product or service that customers purchase, And again, in Tronline, you're sending your money to a third party to custody your assets. They could exit scam like that, even if it's a smart contract. It doesn't matter whether or not you're required to reinvest a certain percentage. It doesn't matter. They could still exit scam you just like that. And once new people stop coming in and putting in money, the whole thing is going to collapse. They're not going to pay out anymore, and the certain percentage of the people are going to lose out. Brett says, what about G999 Gold Standard Partners? From what I understand, I've briefly looked at it, and from what I understand, they're offering like a debit card service, and I think you can get gold and silver from them, right? But here's the thing: regardless of if they're offering like 1% a day or 20% a month or 30% a month, it's not going to be sustainable. It's just going to collapse. But I think I do slightly remember G999. I think they're doing like gold and silver, and then they have debit cards, right? Like they have a debit card. Same thing, like I'm in a company like that called 7K Metals, where we have silver, and I have silver auto shipped every month, and then I also have dealer direct pricing to other gold and silver products, and then optional referral program, and then I have a company debit card where they can load my commissions onto the debit card. What's up, Arnold? Yeah, I like to find companies that have debit cards because it's just really convenient to be able to. Brett says they're an offshoot of Carrot Bars. Yeah, I remember Carrot Bars. I ordered the little starter kit in Carrot Bars and stuff. I just didn't really like do much else with the company beyond that. Lou says, I'm in Parabia, offers 0.5% over 4 days payouts on Wednesdays. That'll collapse eventually, or they're going to run into a regulatory compliance issue. Unless they're licensed to do that. Then this is what I've learned. Like I recently learned this. Again, when I first started doing online, I had no idea about any of this stuff that I'm teaching you right now. They're selling unregistered securities, which is illegal in almost every country. So Parabia or however you say that, they're going to get shut down. They're either the funds are going to dry up and they're going to collapse, or they're going to exit scam, or they're going to get shut down by a regulatory compliance issue. One of those three. Guarantee you one of those three things will happen to that Parabia. I can't say exactly when, but I guarantee you that will happen within the not too distant future. What's up, Brett? Brett, where are you watching from? But a lot of these, the companies, like, they, Lou says they are traders. Yeah, that's, I mean, even if they are doing real trades, they can't promise you that percentage. And if they don't have the licenses to do it, they're just going to get shut down. Or they're going to run into a compliance issue or something like that. And then now here's the thing too, even if they do have, and a lot of them, these companies they do have real traders, they do have real broker account, but you don't know if they're actually trading with 100% of the liquidity. A lot of times what they do is again, this is all stuff that I recently learned from just experience and believing in companies and then finding out later that they were doing this behind our backs. They'll collect a bunch of money, but they'll do minimal trading and then still be using a bunch of the other money to pay out investors, or they're just extracting money behind the scenes, and then eventually the thing will collapse. So Lou Davis says they're licensed. You know, a lot of them say they're licensed and they're not. Or they might be licensed in like one country, but they're not licensed in like 90% of the other countries that they're operating in. So, I mean, to do that, like, you'd have to be, I mean, to do that in the United States, there's a certain regulatory institution that you have to get licensed with. To do that in the United Kingdom, there's a different, another regulatory compliance thing that you have to get a license for. So they have to get the licenses with all the different ones, and it's, in most cases, they don't have the licenses, and in many other cases, they're lying about having the licenses. Like a lot of these companies, like what they do is they operate out of a country where where they know they can get away with stuff. And then they just go on these Zoom calls and they tell everyone what they want to hear. Oh yeah, we have real traders. They show you a real trading account. Oh yeah, we're licensed. They're just telling you what you want to hear. And then they're going to exit scam, or they're going to collapse, or they're going to get shut down by a compliance issue. I've seen this play out like time and time again. And it takes a long time for these things to play out. Sometimes it can take years for something like this to play out. But because I've been doing this for years, I've seen it. I've seen it play out. So. Lou says they're based in Germany, but here's the thing. What country are you promoting it in? And are they marketing it to, if they're marketing it in the United States, it doesn't matter if they're based and licensed in Germany. If they're not licensed to do it in the United States, they're going to get shut down by the regulatory compliance institutions. So if they're not licensed to do it in the United Kingdom, which I believe is the FSCA, anyone doing it in the United Kingdom is going to get shut down by a regulatory compliance issue. If they're not licensed to do it in in South Africa, it's the FSCA, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. They're going to shut them down in any reps in South Africa. And then eventually they're going to trace it back to Germany, and they're going to work internationally and go back to Germany and say, hey, we have your company that's operating illegally in all these other countries, and they're still going to get shut down or run into a regulatory compliance issue. So it doesn't matter. It's if they're selling, if they're promising something like that, it's crazy. There's all these licenses you have to get, and there's a different one you have to get in each different country. And what happens is they might have it in one country, but then they get a bunch of marketers in another country, and it blows them in another country, and then they're going to get shut down in that country, and then eventually it's going to domino effect into all the other countries, and there's what's going to happen is other countries they start getting these fraud warnings. And they'll get one fraud warning from one country, and then that's kind of like starts a domino effect, and then it shows up on the radar, and then other countries see it, and then they put out a fraud warning, and then eventually it's going to collapse, or they're going to run into some kind of issue, or they're just going to exit scam. What's up, Arnold? So that's why I decided to plant my flag with something like 7K Metals, where I'm still able to transfer my wealth from declining dollars into an appreciating asset, and I custody the asset, and it's operating in the United States, it's legal, it's compliant, and I can potentially take those assets and go flip them in the markets for more than what I bought them for. Especially some of these numismatic coins that they have. I mean, if you watch the the live stream from just the other day, my partner Mike, they showed examples of some of these numismatic coins that they're getting from the dealer direct store that we have with 7K Metals, where they're getting them for like $120, and they're waiting like a month or two, and they're selling them out in the markets for like $250, $300, some of them. And then right now we see the central banks. What are they doing behind the scenes? They're buying massive amounts of precious metals. They're accumulating massive amounts of real tangible assets because they know what's coming. And they're not telling the public. They're lying to you guys about everything. The mainstream media, the central banks, the governments, they're lying to everyone because they want you to keep all your wealth in their bank, where they control it, where they custody it. And while you're depositing your money into their bank, you know what they're doing? They're extracting your dollars out of the bank, and they're using it to buy silver and real estate and gold and tangible assets. They're using it to buy farmland. They're using it to accumulate as many of the tangible resources and assets as they can, because they see what's happening is they're going into hyperinflation. Maybe not hyperinflation yet, but we're seeing a steady increase of inflation. They're printing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. And that's what all the banks are doing. They're buying gold, they're buying silver, they're buying cryptocurrencies. These central banks and the corporations, the big corporations that they finance, and the governments that are financed by the corporations and the central banks, they lobby in Congress to get all their bills passed so that they can use loopholes in the law to rob everyone and collapse markets and crash economies, and then come in and use their basically their infinite liquidity pool, fiat money, to just buy up as many assets as they can, while all the common people get screwed over. Like these mainstream media television networks that are owned by the central bankers, you're never going to hear them tell you how much silver JP Morgan Chase has accumulated. They're not going to tell you because they don't want you going, and they don't want competition. Go do a Google search on how much silver has been accumulated by JP Morgan Chase. It's crazy number, like 600 million ounces they accumulate, that they hold. And they don't tell you when you go and check in at JP Morgan Chase Bank, and you talk to their financial planners and you talk to them about mortgages. None of their employees are trained to tell you what's really happening behind the scenes. None of their employees are trained to talk to you and tell you about what is fractional reserve lending and how it's affecting the economy. None of their employees are trained to teach you the true history about money and the Federal Reserve and who created it and what they're doing and what their real agenda is. None of them are trained on how to do that. So that's why that's why I get silver shipped out every month, and it's why I hold my value in cryptocurrencies, in private key wallets, like physical assets like gold, silver, where I custody them, or uh, digital assets where I control the private keys and they can potentially appreciate. And then some cash flow helps as well, because most of the world is still using cash. So you need to have the cash flow. So when you have cash flow, then you don't have to go and sell your assets. See, I want to keep as many of my assets for the long term as I can, because that's going to be your long-term wealth, your generational wealth. And the cash flow is what sustains you. But I left a link in the description of this live stream. If you click on see more, and you click on the link where it says my coaching program. If you get on my email list and connect with me, I can start sending you some trainings about how to generate cash flow with an online business, and then how to start diversifying into different assets and building long-term wealth, generational wealth, wealth that you can pass along to your children, to your families. Because you can't pass along a 9-to-5 salary to your children. You can't pass along a degree, a college degree, to your children, but you can pass along wealth and knowledge about how the money system really works. You can pass along knowledge about real history that they won't teach your kids in school. You can pass along assets that you custody, like gold and silver. You can pass along private keys to cryptocurrency wallets. You can pass along a business that you've built and established. You see, everything that people are getting programmed and conditioned to do in this country by the public education system, by the mainstream media, is designed to enslave everyone and impoverish everyone so that a small group of ruling elites can accumulate all the wealth and power for themselves while ruling over the people. So if you don't want that, if you don't want to have people ruling over you and you don't want to be a debt slave, you got to have residual income. You have to have cash flow. You got to be earning money in your sleep, and enough of it to financially sustain all your basic needs and have enough left over to start growing your investment portfolio in multiple different asset classes. And unfortunately, the majority of people in this world, through the education system, are not getting taught to do this. They're just getting taught to go to school, get a job, and then save money. And most of these people that do that go to school and get a job, they're not even making enough money to save money, because the jobs don't even pay enough money for people to live sustainably. Most jobs, like 99% of jobs out there, do not pay enough money for people to even begin to get ahead in life. They'd have to increase the minimum wage by like 20 or 30 or 40 times for the average person to actually work an hourly job and even begin to start getting ahead in life. And even then, you increase the minimum wage by like 10 or 20 or 30 times, it would still take you a really long time to do things like pay off a whole house. What everyone was taught and programmed to do, the definition of success that was programmed and conditioned into the masses, is not what's going to make people successful. It's going to do the exact opposite. It's going to keep everyone down. It's going to keep everyone in a never-ending spiral of monetary debt enslavement. That's why I come on here and teach this stuff, because my parents didn't teach this to me. My teachers didn't teach it to me. My friends' parents didn't teach it to me. None of this stuff was taught to me. I had to figure it out all by myself. Anyways, I got to run, but it was lovely chatting with you guys. Remember, the links in the description of this video will take you to my training course, where I'll teach you how to make money in your sleep with online business. And I can show you how to start building affiliate programs, YouTube marketing, sales, copywriting, Instagram marketing, Facebook marketing. I can teach you how to do all that stuff. If anyone is interested, and a lot of my stuff, a lot of the trainings, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. I post stuff for free all the time. See you guys.